actually used to play. MiniWarGaming's Beat the Cooler Bat Rap!
Hey there, MiniWarGamers. Owen here with Kris, not other Kris, who you just saw me play. And spoiler alert, I don't remember who won. But we're playing another 1,500 point game, Imperial Guard once again, this time up against Daemons. So I'm gonna get slaughtered because I lose to Daemons almost every time. Yes. And I'll show you the armies. So here's my 1,500 points of guard. Now there is a bit of proxying involved, so I'm gonna put a little disclaimer. And here we have my 2 platoons. Every group has a Melta and a mortar. Mortar, 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 mortar. Melta, 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 Melta. The second platoon, Meltas and mortars. And a commissar. We've got a hellhound, and then we have 8 chimeras, all with scatter lasers, and 3 griffins. So once again, a little bit of a proxy there, because I didn't want to bring Medusas because they're ridiculous. There we go. Demons. What do you got?
Alright, so I got 4 squads of 10 plague bearers. Nothing special, no icons or anything. I have a great unclean one, and he's got biomancy. He got iron arm, endurance, smite, and his gifts are greater ether blade, and the plus on rune will not die.
Cool.
Bloodthirster with Hellfire Gaze, Dark Blessing, and Axe of Corn for his gifts, and 20-man unit of Bloodletters, and 2 Mark of Zench Soul Grinders with Flame.
There you go. There you go. So here we are. Imperial Guard are lined up in all of their tank glory. Man, I really want to play a big game, because I've got another 8 Lehman Russ that I want to bring out at the same time. I haven't gotten to do it yet. Soon. And here are the demons. Look at how spread out they think they are. And there's the relic. I have first turn. Where's that yellow dice? Behind my yellow dice. Roll a 6. Do it. Do it. That's a 4. They wanted to be a 6. So here we go. Imperial Guard, turn 1. And so we start off the Imperial Guard turn 1. First off, I've got my Hellhound driving through the difficult terrain there, not getting immobilized. My 3 artillery pieces fire right on top of that first bloodletter, and of course I'm just going to see if I can blow them into the back into the warp. First shot scatters 11 inches to the side. Now I've made a mistake and didn't realize that I can re-roll the scatter with these griffins, but first shot lands right there. And now it's hitting 8 of them. Second one flips one side that way. So we're at 11. And then 2 on the other side. And then the last one flips forward and does not hit any. So we got 11 hits on the first group of plague bearers. So here it goes. They have 5 up save. So here comes their invulns. And you don't get intervening cover because of this, so here comes the bomb. Because it is, of course, ordnance. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are destroyed, starting from the center of the templates. So we'll just grab 1, 2, 3, because most of those ones were hit. And there we go. So the middle group is wiped out. The second one, it did 1 wound to the other 2, who promptly fails his save and is also destroyed. After that, we move on to the next wave of shots. The dozens of mortar shells raining down from all of my chimeras. First one deviates quite a bit, but still manages to hit 2 of them. Forced to wound, nothing. So we fire the next mortar. There's another one. Now this is going to go all the way down. I'm going to start firing them into the bloodletters here. Direct hit. So that's 3. Oh, 2 of them, my mistake. And here we go, forced to wound. There we go, so 2 wounds, and 2 go down. So the 2 in the center of there, the one that got hit, they get destroyed. We fire the next mortar. So we're on the 3rd one. Aiming for right there, which is a direct hit. So another 2 are hit by this. 1 more wound. Oh, they're only toughness 3, so he takes a wound, and he does make his save though. So it's actually wounding on 3s against the bloodletters, 4s against the plague bearers. This one deviates a full 8 inches straight back. And so it ends up splashing right onto the 3 of them, which is even a better hit than I was aiming for. So we get 3 of them right there, wounding on 3s. He has to make 2 more 5-up saves. And he makes 1, so another one is destroyed. After that, we fire the next mortar shell. Still working our way down. We've got another 3 more after this. And that one is a direct hit on another 2 of them. Oh. So there's 3 actually on this one. And that is what Kris said there, that we got all 3. So we get 1 wound, and he fails his save. So yet another one is destroyed. And then we fire another mortar shell. 3rd last one right now. Here we go. We're going to put it right on top of those plague bearers. And it is a direct hit. So he gets 4 of them, wounding on 4s. There we go. We got 3. And here we go. 5+ saves. 3 of them are destroyed. So blam, blam, blam. 3 of the unclean ones are gone. After that, we fire the 2nd last rocket, or 2nd last mortar shell, rather, aiming for that plague bearer. Deviates 6 inches, heading off towards those other 2. It might still clip one of them. So we measure it over there. Yeah, no, actually, it should have deviated the full distance, but thankfully it didn't hurt anyone, because they're not able to be corrected right there. But anyway, the last one deviates 3 inches over. Hits and does a wound to the other bloodthirster over there, and he fails his save, and 1 is destroyed. And that is the last of the mortar shells. So next we fire off the cannons on the chimeras. They're shooting their scatter lasers first, and they get 3 hits. There we go. And then they both fire their heavy bolters, so 3 hits on the first heavy bolter, and 2 hits on the other heavy bolter. So here come the strength 6s, wounding on 4s. 1 wound, and then the strength 5s, nothing. So 1 regular save, which he promptly passes. After that, we fire the next multi-laser, aiming at a few of the plague critters out there, and then the heavy bolter. The multi-laser does a wound, and here we go. So another one is destroyed, and that is the end of the next demon. Another tank fires, heavy bolter, laser, and heavy bolter. Lasers, does 2 more wounds. Here we go, another couple 5-up saves. Makes 1 of them, so another one goes down. He was already knocked over. And moving on, I'm trying to decide whether or not I have anything else. I have another scatter laser that's going to shoot. Now these guys, of course, are going to get cover saves. We only get 1 and 2, 3. So 3+ saves here. And he gets 1. So 2 of them are destroyed as well. 1 and 2. Because they have permanently have stealth, which I find odd, but they have it, so really cool. Now I'm going to fire another scatter laser at these 2. Tons of hits, all of them hit. So 2's on the bolt or the lasers, and 3's on the heavy. All wounds, so 6 5-up saves on 2 guys. That's the end of that unit. So that is first blood for the Imperial Guard. They were destroyed. So last, we're going to have all 3 chimeras fire at the unit in the cover. So here come the scatter lasers. And here come the wounds. So they've done 3 wounds, and now the heavy bolters all fire. A bunch of hits, not nearly as good, but a bunch of hits nonetheless, and wounding on 3s. So they get a few more, and he's going to have 3+ saves against all of these. So here we go, 3 up. He fails 2, so 2 more of these unclean ones get destroyed. We are just chewing into them. So here we go, it's Daemon's turn. They're going to move up. They take cover behind this wall, which will help them against the scatter lasers and bolters, but unfortunately the artillery and barrage weapons ignore intervening terrain, so unless they're in area terrain, they're not actually going to get a cover save, or at least they're not going to get the benefit of the cover save. But it is something. The other Daemons move up, as well as the Bloodletters moving up towards the middle of the board there, trying to just close up their gaps after so many of them got blown up by the artillery. And so they move forward, and basically they just need to cross the gap. If they can get in close combat, I'll get destroyed, but unfortunately he's got quite a ways to go. That said, the greater demon can fly, so he flies up way across the board there, and he was going to tuck behind the tree there, but we remembered that he has to roll the warp storm table, so something terrible could happen. and it is nothing. So now he decides to shoot at my tank here. He's ballistic skill 10, so he's hitting on a 2. But he misses, but he gets to reroll on a 2+. And he misses again. So that tank dodged it. And that's that for that bloodletter. Now these guys, they decide to run his Daemon herd. And so the unclean ones and the... I always call them bloodthirsters, but they're bloodletters. The bloodletters also run up as well. So they move up 5, and the unclean ones can move up 6. So they all run forward, trying to get in a little bit closer. Unfortunately, he is also kind of packing his guys tighter so that when the artillery rains down again, we will probably kill a few. And he ends up deciding whether... He couldn't decide whether he wanted to move up because I had commented that he was packing up nice and tight for my artillery to come down on him. But in the end, he decided he's just going to go forward anyway. And so he moves forward, and that is the end of turn 1. Here we are at the end of turn 1. Not one guard moved other than this tank. And they pummeled the hell out of those demons. And we're going to do it again. Oh, and he caught up, and he's handicapped. He doesn't do... He just fails. And that's that. The Hellhound continues to prowl up, heading up towards the center there. And of course it does have its torrent flamethrower on it. I move my command squad out from behind that tank because unfortunately they have not really done anything ever, my squad commands. Well, I've been thinking about how I could upgrade them to actually do something. But anyway, we move into the shooting phase as I try and shoot down his great demon here. And so here we go. We're going to fire off at it with their pitter-patter of las guns. And 6s to hit. They actually get a phenomenal number of 6s. And so here we go, 6s to wound. But really all we're going for is to try and make him do grounding tests. So the first one, 6s to wound. And they got a wound. Bam, look at that. 3-up save. He makes it. But now the hard part, grounding test. He survives. So he stays up in the air. So we're still hitting him on 6s. So now we're going to have the tank fire at him. Here comes its scatter laser. 1 hit. And the heavy bolter on 6s. Nothing. So 1 hit, 4 to wound. Does a wound. And here we go, 3+. He makes it, but once again, another grounding check. So here we go. Oh, there it is. So he goes down. Strength 9 hit, AP 1, or rather Strength 9, no armor saves. So on a 2. He takes a wound. Here we go. He's got his invuln. And he can reroll if he fails his invuln, thanks to a piece of war gear that he's got. So he does successfully pass his invuln and is now sitting on the ground. From here, we've got my other weapons now firing into the center main herd of demons here. We fired the Bale Flamer. We fired the Hammerhead Hellhound's Flamer. Gets 5 of them. So 5 guys on 5+. This is on the bloodletters. And he fails 4 of those. So 4 of them go down. Lit up in a big torrent of flame. And then from there, we move on to my next pile of vehicles here, like my giant artillery pieces that are all hanging out at the back. The first shot deviates 5 inches forward, which I'm okay with. So I come around to just try and adjust that. So it deviates up, hits right there. Second shot. Now these are where they bounce to. One flips over and one on the same spot. So one lands next to it, and the other one I can have overlapping the template in any way I choose. So there we go. That's what happened that turn. Triple barrage from the 3 large griffins. Here are the wounds against the... I'm going to reroll the one there because it was on its corner. And then they get to make their 5-up saves. So here comes all the I can't do it. Bloodletters. And they take a ton of wounds. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2s to wound with the artillery. Get another 4 wounds. And from there we get the 5 guys there. Or 5-up saves rather. So 2 of them get blown up and there's only 2 left. So now we're going to move to the other side. We're going to have 4 guys in the Melta take a shot at the landed greater demon. So I'm I'm gonna steal one of his red dice here to roll as my melt-a-shot. So here we go. We're gonna try and kill that greater demon with guardsmen and weaponry, or just volleys of fire. So here we go. 6s, nothing. All right, that worked well. Okay, next batch, gonna do the same thing. The melt-a-hit this time, which is a better way of going about it. And so 2s and 6s. The melt of wounds. Oh, and that's it. So here we go. Failed his invuln, but he gets to re-roll it. Or rather, he made his invuln. He has a 3-up invuln right now. That's right. So, they missed with the next wave of meltas and shots, but they did hit with 2 of their regular las guns, so 3+, and he makes that save as well. So he is fine still. We're running out of guns. So those 2 are going to fire their weapons at the greater demon. So here come the scatter lasers, where we get another 3 hits, and they're wounding on 4s. So no wounds. And from there we move on further across the board because we might as well start shooting the artillery again. So here comes more barrages. There is another 3, forced to wound, does 1 wound. He's got a 5-up, which he makes. There you go. So we fire a second one coming down on top of these guys. It does miss. Next one deviates a little bit, and it ends up landing right there. So here we go. 1 wound on those 2, and he's got a 5-up. He fails it, and so the guy closest to the blast, which is that one, gets destroyed. And then we fire the last piece of artillery, their last blast anyway, which hits, so it gets the 4 of them, or 3 of them rather, and does 1 wound. And here we go. Fails that save, and so we get another one. So only 2 got destroyed that time from the artillery there, but we have one last one, which easily misses. And that's that. So from there, we have these 2 firing their turrets, which the Daemon Prince, they get 2 hits, wounding on 4s. They get 2 more wounds, so he's got 2 more 3+ saves. Oh, there we go. Put him down 2 wounds. So that was pretty awesome right there. I believe he has 4 or 2 more left. Oh no, he has 3 more left. That's right. He's got 5 wounds altogether. So anyway, over here we fire all weapons once again, aiming for those plague bearers that are hanging out in the woods or in the ruins. So everyone fires. Tons of shots from their scatter lasers, wounding on 2s. So they get tons of wounds from the scatter lasers. And now I fire the remainder of my heavy bolters, which is another 4 tanks worth of heavy bolters, and we get a couple hits with those, and these are going to be wounding on 3s. So here we go. He's got another pile of 3-up saves because he is hanging out in ruins with stealth, and he's actually going to go to ground for a 2+. So he loses 3 of them, and that's that for him. So 3 more go down just from regular fire, but unfortunately it's not enough to finish this guy off, and he doesn't fall back. So here we go, reserves. Oh, neither of his reserves come in for the soul grinders, and the Great Unclean One also does not come in. So unfortunately he does not get any reserves. It's up to the forces that are on the table for now. So we move back onto the board. The demon picks up back into the air again. He flies over behind my tanks, getting himself in a position that he can blow up my artillery. The Unclean Ones move up, heading towards my Hellhound, trying to get into a better position so that they can charge it. The last few Bloodletters and Plague Bearers in the back here, they move forward as well. So they move up, advancing over the wall, getting 6 inches, so they can move up into cover. And now the other unit of Bloodletters, they can continue to move forward, but they are rather reduced in number after the 5 or 6 barrages that they've had to endure. These guys over here, they'd gone to ground, but they ended up just staying in the terrain anyway, so he just kind of shuffles them. But yeah, that's basically how that went. Here we go, rolling on the Warp Storm. 7. The eye is closed, or whatever the 40k equivalent is of the eye is closed. Here we go, shooting his eye lasers. He actually hit this time. And he gets a pen. AP 1, so +2 on what he rolls. 6, it blows up. And that's about it. Oh, I could wound him on a 6. And I don't. So that is the end of that tank. And there we go. So here comes the assault phase. He decides that he's going to run first before he does the assault phase. So these guys can move up a little bit. They gain a whole inch. And then the other guys gain 5 inches over here. Moving right up, getting onto the relic. Because if he can hold the relic, he can win. These guys, they charge, easily making it, of course, but they did want to just see how close they could get and how many guys from the back could get in there. So they move up, getting into base to base as many as they can. And there they are. The initiative step moves them in, and now they all get to attack, hitting on 3s, glancing on 6s, and they get 2 glances. So it's not quite enough to finish off my tank as we move into the Imperial Guard turn. Tank backs up, moving 6, and it is actually a fast tank, which I didn't recognize, but it is. So it can shoot both weapons when it moves, which is definitely nice to see. So he moves there, and now moving over here, we've got my units prepared to fight this greater demon. Everyone, all the vehicles turn around, facing all weapons, and all units start to disembark from their transports, getting in position so that they could fight. He's going to face a little bit more towards the demon. These guys, they're going to get out and get ready to fight that greater demon as well. So those guys will be moving, and then all at once I'm going to just put all the models down. So everyone lines up, and then I'm going to bring out everyone and get ready to attack this guy. So here's everybody disembarked from their vehicles. All but the one on the far left disembarked. And hopefully we can take them down with just sheer volleys of fire. Another one turns, moves into position to fire on him. Another one turns, moves into position to fire on him. Another one turns, moves into a position to fire on the greater demon. Basically, we gotta kill this thing, because if he gets free reign back there, he's gonna destroy all of our artillery, so all weapons gotta turn on him. Here we go, first rank, second rank on that unit. They do barely pass, because they have a Voxcaster. Or they have their sergeants with the Voxcaster, which means you roll on the sergeant. But anyway, firing all weapons, hitting on 6s, because they got to try and knock him out of the air. So they did get 2 hits, 6s to wound. No wounds, but he has to do a grounding test. On a 1 or a 2, he stays up in the air. So we move on to the next unit. This will be the command squad, firing on him as well. The platoon command, that is. And once again, 6s. Unfortunately, they do not hit. So no hits from them. After that, we move on to which unit's going to fire next. The unit on, or rather the tank on the far left, decides to fire. Gets 1 hit with their las guns, the guys inside that tank, and he stays up in the air still. We gotta get him out of that. So we're going to save those weapons. Now we're going to fire the next group of infantry on the ground here. Once again, hitting on 6s. So here we go. We got a hit with the Melta. 2 to wound. He doesn't do a wound, but he's got to do another grounding check. Here we go, 1 or a 2. 2, he's down. Alright, now we get to attack all forces. He failed to do a wound to him, but that's okay, because now we can hit him with regular ballistic skill on all of the remaining guns. So here comes all of the guard in the last unit. Suddenly they were able to actually hit the enemy, so they hit him with Meltas, and then now it's 6s to wound and 2s on the Melta. The Melta does a wound, and that's it. So here comes his invuln. 5+. He fails it, but he gets to re-roll it, and he fails it again. So we put him down another wound. He is down to 2 remaining. There we go. And now we move on. From there, we've got the vehicles. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of them are going to be shooting at him. So here come their scatter lasers. I'm gonna count these up here. And now force to wound. They did not do that good. So they got 3 wounds so far. 3+. He passes them all. Alright, so same thing, heavy bolters. Once again, we're firing all weapons, all at that one demon. We gotta try and kill him so that he can't get in there, but I wish I had my my platoon closer so that we could actually get bring it down or on my target, but unfortunately we couldn't. We did get him down to 1 wound though. He's still alive. Need to get something. Something needs to shoot him. running out of guns at this point. I fire the las guns at max range, so they only got a few shots. This is 2 units worth of shooting. So they hit him quite a few times. They need 6s to wound. We got 1 wound. He has 1 wound left. And... he rolls a 1. That is the end of that Greater Demon. All it took was my entire army shooting at him, and he went down. There we go. Down goes the Greater Demon. So we move on from there. Flamethrowers. Flamethrowers everywhere. Burns 5 with the Torrent Flamethrower. And gets 4. And then the other Flamethrower, which I apparently forgot to shoot. So here we go. 5 up saves. And he makes 3 of them. So only 1 dies. And then I remember, of course. So in all honesty, I should have rolled that first. But anyway, he gets 4 hits with his other heavy flamer on the front, which does no wounds. We move on to firing my scatter laser at his 2 demons that are hanging out on the objective. And we get 2 hits, 2 wounds, and he's only got a 3-up save because he's got 4+ plus stealth. And he does fail 1, so we've got him down to 1 on the objective at this point. Moving on from there, I decide I'm going to actually snap fire my bolter as well, because why not? But I miss. So now we roll off to see whether he gets his soul grinders in and his demon, but he does not get the Greater Demon. And so his 2 beasties come in, deep striking. First one gets a direct hit, so he does not scatter. The second one deviates slightly, goes about 4 inches backwards, ends up landing on the difficult terrain, so he does have to do a dangerous terrain check or get immobilized, but he does pass that test, so he's okay. So for now, he's going to sit there and hold that objective, and now we've got the other 4 that are going to start advancing up. They were starting to head them towards the Hellhound, but he just changed his mind when he realized that we have all these juicy guardsmen outside of their tanks. So he's going to try and see if he can kill a few of them. Over here, he's got his Bloodletters moving up, trying to get into a better position so that they can help support his mid. Rolling on the Warp Storm table, he rolls a 6. So we roll a d6 for every one of these units. Does not go off. Does not go off. Does not go off. It does hit that vehicle. So he gets d6 hits, he gets 6. So the side armor's 10, he needs a 6 to glance. He does not get any. Next vehicle. Nothing. Next vehicle. Or sorry, next unit. Nope. Hellhound. Nope. Next unit. Nope. Next vehicle. Nope. The squadron. Nope. Next vehicle. Here we go. He's trying to roll a 6. Nope. And the next vehicle. Still no. My command squad. Oh, he does get it. There we go. 6 hits. 3s to wound. Re-rolling. So he gets 5 wounds, and they don't have any save. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Or rather, he got 4 wounds altogether. Alright, next vehicle does not work, and the next vehicle does not work. He then decides to take a shot at my tank with his Soul Grinder there, shooting its blast, which 1 inch it scatters and just brings it off of that vehicle, so he only gets 1 hit on the 1 tank. Strength 8, he needs a 2 to glance, and fails. So now he's going to fire his Harvester as well at that same tank, and he gets 2 hits. And he gets 1 pen. So here we go. He is immobilized. So that tank is now going to be sitting there, unable to move, and down to 1 hull point because there was a glance there as well. He then shoots with his other Soul Grinder at the next tank, which gets a direct hit, hitting the front of the artillery as well as the back of that tank, and then tries to damage it. He gets a glance. And on the other tank, he needs a 4. But he will get a cover save, because there is, of course, an intervening model. But he does not actually hurt it. And then he fires his Harvester at this one as well, which gets 1 hit. And it is a glance. So he's only down to 1 hull point. So he's still alive, which is really all that I wanted. The Bloodletters, they decide that they're going to run, heading more up behind the wall there, take a bit of cover. And then the Plague Bearers decide that they're going to charge the Hellhound instead of charging that unit of infantry. So they do make the charge. They're now in base to base, and this is their chance they can finally finish it off after failing to finish it off the previous turn. So they need 3s to hit as they get 8 attacks and gets a bunch of hits, 6s to glance. He gets the 1/6, so it is now wrecked. Moving into the Imperial Guard turn, all of the guards jump back into their cars, or all of the guardsmen jump back in their cars anyway. So we move that. These guys over here, they had to do a leadership check, which we forgot about, the one with Creed there. And my other tanks here rolling to see. Now, we made a mistake there. He actually had taken 2 glances there, and yeah, I think he was immobilized. He shouldn't have been able to move like that. It looks like we may have made a mistake right there. Neither of us caught that, but it is possible I just missaw it on the recording here. But anyway, moving on, the Imperial Guard tanks all roll up, but unfortunately most of their guns won't even be able to hurt this thing anyway. So they all line up in front of it, because it is armor 13, 13, 11, which makes it a lot stronger than my vehicles. So he moves over and gets immobilized, and unable to drive through the wreck. I wanted him to drive right up on top, but he did fail. Then the next tank moves back, getting into a better firing position as well, as does the very far tank in the corner there. Once he checks to see, once he's finished testing to see if he gets immobilized, which he does not, and so he drives up and parks right there. After him, we've got my little platoon command moving around in the back, just trying to get a little bit closer, get them back into the fight. Here we go, shooting a Melta from inside the tank. It misses. Melta inside the next tank. Hits. Here we go, 2d6 pen. I need a 5 to glance. I get a pen. So he's got a 5-up invuln against this because he's a demon, which he passes. So that's bad news for me. Fire another Melta. Hits. 2d6 pen. Pen. Here we go, another 5+. And he makes it. So he's still okay. So here we go. We're moving on to the next unit, firing their Melta. It hits. 6 to pen. They get a glance. And he failed it, but he re-rolls 1s because he is Zeech, but he does not pass the following check. So he's down to 3 hull points, and we fire the last Melta in that unit. Misses. Alright, so we weren't able to kill it. I decided to drop artillery shells on top of these guys. First one hits, and the second barrage also hits, so I get to place a template anywhere so long as it's touching this template, or even over top of it if I want. So I decide to hit all 4 of those guys. First one, I fail to wound the unclean one, and then against the other guys, I need 2s to wound. And get 4 wounds on them, so here we go, 5-up save. 1 of them survives, so 2 of them get destroyed, and there's 1 left now. Decide that I'm going to shoot my scatter laser at that lone Daemon in the middle, and I get 1 wound. And he's got a 2+ because he's going to ground, but he passes it. Firing the next turret at him, once again hitting him on 4s, wounding on 2s. And we get a few more wounds, but he's got to make another 2+ save, or 3+ save, sorry. He's not going to ground because he's holding the objective, but he does go down at that point, and that is the end of the Plague Bear. Fire another turret aiming for the Bloodletter. It does get a wound. Here we go. He's got a 5-up, which he fails, and that is the end of his infantry. So I have now tabled all but like 1 unit that's hiding in the very corner here, which unfortunately for him will not really make that much of a difference as far as if they're going to get the objective. So I fire away, shooting all of my remaining lasers and bolters at them. Wounding on 2s here, so we get 4 wounds, and then I decide to fire the few bolt guns that I can. Getting a couple more hits, and then these are going to be wounding on 3s. And so I get 2 more wounds, but he's got a good 3-up save against all of these. So he decides to go to ground though for the 2+, and only loses 1 instead of 2. And so 1 more gets destroyed. After that, we move into the following Chaos turn. So his Greater Demon coming in right in the center of the board, direct hit, so he is standing basically on the objective, and does not take a wound from the dangerous terrain. His Plague Bearers move up, advancing through that little crack between the Chimera and the wall there, or just through the wall. We didn't really establish what we were treating that as, but anyway, we just use it as ruins. So they move up. We remember that he's got a psychic move, so he decides that he's going to do his Iron Arm, so he's toughness 9 right now. And there's not a lot I can do about hurting that. He decides now with his first Soul Grinder that is falling apart at this point because all of the terrifying Meltas, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason why he's giving up, but anyway, he keeps going. He decides that he's going to start taking a few pot shots. First he moves though, And the other one moves as well. Just getting himself in another good position to start firing away. So he shoots his large blast, gets a direct hit, hitting 2 of my tanks. First tank. Second tank. Nope, but the second one gets a cover save, which he fails. And 4, he gets a weapon destroyed. So 4+ is the scatter laser. Heavy bolter gets destroyed, and he loses a hull point down to 2. And moving on from there, he's got his harvester. And he misses. So now we're going to fire the next one, aiming for that tank that's down to 1 hull point. Large blast, which way he wants to go, whether he wants to hit those 2 or the other 2. Actually, right there, he can actually hit all 3. And he scatters quite far. 6 inches straight back. And unfortunately, he misses at that point. So no one hits with that, and now he fires his harvester at the front of my damaged tank. He does get a hit. 5 to glance. It's a 5. So they are now having to disembark, or they get an emergency disembark, and they get pinned. So they're down. These guys have to overwatch when they're getting charged by the big critter, and they fail to hit with the Melta. So he charges into their tank, easily going to tear this to shreds. He's already strength 10, and they're only... Now he's deciding what he wants to charge with his his plague bears, and they decide that they're going to charge my tank, and the guys inside the tank fire back, getting 2 hits, wounding on 5s. They get 2 wounds. Here we go. He's got a 5 up, and we killed another one. He does charge them though with his 3 guys, hitting on 3s, and he gets 3 hits and wounding on, or glancing on 6s. Does not get it. So that unit is quite safe inside of their metal box. Rolling on the warp storm, nothing really happens because I don't have any psychers. So the big guy now attacks, taking swings at my tank, hits it on 3s. He hit it 4 times. Now he automatically pens. So does it explode? You bet it does, and it gets everyone in there, wounding on 3s. So he wounds 4 of them, and they've got to make their 5-up saves. 1 of them makes it, so 3 of them are dead, but they do pass their pinning check. We move into the Imperial Guard turn now, as the last few guardsmen move up, trying to get those plague bearers off of that tank. The other tank drives up, trying to get further up, and these guys all get into a position so that they can start taking shots at that soul grinder. Testing to see if he gets immobilized. He does not. The other tank over here, moving over to get into the back arc of the soul grinder, along with its buddy here. And I don't mind overlapping, seeing as he'll get a 5-up regardless. So we'll give him a little bit of cover. That tank right there is immobilized, and that's about it. So now the guardsmen are going to move into the shooting phase, and I take all my shots, aiming for those plague bearers, trying to see if I can get a few wounds on them. Wounding on 5s. We get 2 wounds, so he's got a 5+ save. And he did look down there. We did end up getting 1. He made the other save, so only 1 of them gets killed. Firing both of my cannons into the back of this soul grinder. Or at least my scatter lasers anyway. And they get 2 hits. 3 hits. It's armor 11, so they need 5s. And they don't get any. But they do shoot a melta gun now, aiming for its back. We do hit 2d6 pen. So he's got a 5-up. Which he fails, so it's +2 on what I roll. I rolled a 5, so it's destroyed. So that is the end of his soul grinder here. Blows up in a 2-inch radius and hits 4 of those guys, or hits a 2-inch radius, and it gets the 4 guys in front of him. So here we go. 2 more wounds, 2 more 5-ups, and I failed them both. So 2 more guardsmen are killed in the explosion from that soul grinder, which I'm more than willing to sacrifice 2 guys if it means destroying a soul grinder. He then has another soul grinder over here, which I fire my 2 melta guns. They both hit. First one, 2d6 pen, glance, and the second one, pen. So he's got a glance and a pen to save against. And he makes his saves. But we get 1 glance through, but unfortunately the pen does not go through. At that point, I decide that I'm going to fire my unit that's in the transport over there at his plague bears. And we get a couple wounds here, and he's got to make 3+ saves, because we're shooting through that cover. And he fails 1, so he is down to just 1 plague bear. all by himself. And then at that point, I decide I'm going to shoot a mortar shell, aiming for him, because they, of course, still have their mortars. So here we go. Scatters. 1 inch. 2 inches. There we go. And it does a wound. Here we go. He's got a 5+. And we get him. So that is the end of all of his troops. He can no longer score objectives or score the relic, which basically means that I've got this because I'm ahead thanks to First Blood and Slay the Warlord. And at that point, I bombard the last few plague bears in the back corner, killing all of them. And that is the end of that unit as well, even though they were too far to really make a difference. So here we are at the end of the 1500 points, Demons versus Guard. And this is to tell everyone who seems to think that demons can take over human planets. We don't even need Space Marines, we don't need Grey Knights. That said, watch out for mortars. Look, yeah, you're all in the video. Haha, look, cell phone, book.
Smiling?
So what would you do differently?
Bring a not infantry list. Against mortars.
Roll better and get those guys in sooner.
Yeah, deep strike them far away.
Or, so or get him. Because like my whole army couldn't hurt the Greater Demon. The Great Unclean One. I think if he had been on the board and the Bloodthirster had been in reserve.
Yeah, that's true.
Or if they had just both been on the table.
Hindsight!
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I'm a fan of this guard list. These are neat. I like the Griffins. I'm gonna go have to make some.
Can't they? Yeah, they're awesome.
Yep, them and Medusas.
Yeah, Medusas are mean.
They are. Bastion Breacher Shells, Strength 10, AP 1, 2d6 to pen.
Small blast, but still good.
It's a blast. Enough said. It's like a super. It's a super railgun.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they don't have barrage though, so they don't get to do the whole like flip.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so that's it. The score at the end was 2-0 because I got First Blood and Slay the Warlord. Had it gone on another turn, those guys were going to book into their deployment zone because we killed everyone in our deployment zone intentionally. Because we can't let them score.
I have 2 models.
Yeah, 2 models that I couldn't kill. They tried so hard.
Invincible.
That's going to walk out, blow that up. They're going to run to the objective. They're also going to run to the objective. They're also going to run to the objective, and you can't kill all of us.
You just got to lie on it and let it go into his fat.
Can't get within an inch of me, and I'm closer than an inch to the objective. So thus, you can never pick it up without assaulting me. That'll learn you. There we go. So stay tuned, MiniWarGamers. We're going to have more War Machine, Warhammer, and Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports. And happy wargaming. Oh, one other thing. Gotta do that.
Oh yeah, good game.
Bam! Handshake. Woo! Happy wargaming.